This is the Comics Alternative, on location at Valhalla Games and Comics in Plano, Texas. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Comics Alternative on location at Valhalla Games and Comics. They're located at 3100 Independence Parkway in Plano, Texas. That is the corner of Independence and Parker. It's a great group of guys who work here. They know their stuff in terms of not only comics but also games. So if you're in the area, be sure to stop by and say, hey, introduce me to some comics, introduce me to some games, show me what I will like, and they will do that. They're the great folks at Valhalla Games and Comics in Plano, Texas. And as always, thank those guys for allowing us to come into their shop every month and do this on-location show. Now, dedicated listeners of the Comics Alternative On Location series will notice that we did not have an episode in February, and the reason for that was I was out of town for the vast majority of that month. I was in North Carolina, so literally I could not be in shop on location. I guess we could have done it via Skype in some way, but then it really wouldn't have been for me on location.
It wouldn't have been the same.
It wouldn't have been the same. But anyway, everyone, I assume, kind of stored up or piled up their enthusiasm and their ideas for what they wanted to discuss today on our recording of our March episode. And around the table with me are regulars of the On Location show. To my right is Tristan. How are things going with you, Tristan?
Pretty well, off to your left, and pretty...
Did I say right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, see, no one listening
He was half right. It's my right.
would have noticed that I can't tell my left from my right.
I would have known.
Okay.
We would have known.
You didn't.
So, yeah, I've got a sense of direction for podcasting, I guess. Some people say they have a face for radio. I have a
there you go.
sense of direction for podcasting. So everything's going okay. This is the first time you've been back since the summer.
Yeah, don't go to university, because that's what it does to you. No free time. But,
That is true.
Yeah.
Right, but there are, other benefits like education, social experience, and engagement.
What about no free time?
Yeah,
Okay.
whatever you say.
Okay, I was trying to go positive.
No,
Well, glad
so
to have you
that's
back. And this is your spring break, correct?
Yes, sir.
So that's why you don't have to call me sir. So that's why that you're free and you can come join us. So glad that you're back.
Do it.
And then to his left is Craig. I got that correct.
Hey guys, how you doing? Glad to be here.
And then to Craig's left, Matt.
How are you?
I am, and Matt is to my right.
Yeah,
Of course, yes.
Okay, so now that I've gotten all situated directionally. Now, we thought that coming back on location after not having been here on February, that we would just open it up, kind of a comics free-for-all, whatever you guys want to talk about in terms of comics or comics culture, comics-related topics would be fair game. Is anything burning or are you chomping to discuss?
Well, what came out in February that's noteworthy enough? It's kind of a haze.
All new
was too
Wolverine
cold.
came out with their Enemy of the State little mini stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty cool.
That ended last week, didn't it?
Yes,
Okay.
that was a lot of fun. A lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. It was really well done and well written, and it was
Yes,
just,
I've heard great things about it.
yeah, probably from me, but it's like,
Well, yeah, of course.
but if you enjoy superhero stuff and the Laura Kinney or X-23 going through S.H.I.E.L.D. hunting her down and some old X-23 villains coming back up, that was really well done. It was a good few issues there. That started out in February. That was a lot of fun.
Good.
Suicide Squad versus Justice League was amazing, surprisingly amazing.
That also ended a few weeks ago, didn't it?
Yeah,
5-issue run or?
it was like a 6-issue run. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why surprisingly
Well, you hear this stuff.
Suicide Squad. That's
because of the
stuff like, what?
because of the movie bombing.
Well, not the
Academy
movie.
Award winners.
Yeah, but you hear the Suicide Squad, and you know the members of the Suicide Squad. You got Harley Quinn, you got Deadshot, who I guess in this version of it, you did get the Batman villain, Killer Croc, and who else was on it? Killer Frost, the Enchantress. And I'm sure I'm missing somebody else.
I can't remember any off the top of my head.
if you guys, what person, who could actually take on the Justice League with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, the Green Lanterns? It's like, okay, well, this is going to end like within one issue. It's like Justice League Batman decided to tell the Justice League that Amanda Waller has her own Black Ops group. And they decide, well, that's just not right. We're going to go put a stop to this. And I was thinking, okay, well, half the book is going to be them putting a stop to that. Why do we need another part of it?
And then some stuff happens and actually puts a crux into the whole situation.
Yeah, and it was some really good writing in there. It was really surprising to me. It's like, oh, if you actually had good writers and an imaginative script and some really good stuff in there, you can make a great comic book, even though it sounds kind of stupid when you first hear about it.
No, it ends on a note where they can actually take it much, much farther.
Yes. And from it, you got the new Justice League of America comic book.
Oh, that's the one where Killer Frost actually joins the Justice League with Batman?
Yeah, with Batman and Lobo and, the Ray and Black Canary. And
that Gold one, or
Mr. Gold,
Apollo? No, that's not right.
I can't.
He's
remember.
like a Sun Power or something like that.
Yeah, I can't think of his name right now, but the new Atom is in there.
That's right.
And someone else. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of other people, but it's kind of an odd hodgepodge of D-listers now into it.
I was about to say, that sounds like a list of, someone in here has to be somebody's favorite, right?
Right, yeah. But surprisingly, that book has started off really well done, where Batman's like, he's not opposed to having a Suicide Squad group, but he doesn't want to someone needs to go out and do these missions, but he doesn't want them to be the Suicide Squad where they're expected to die and put bombs in people's heads and all that type of stuff.
Wasn't there a small Justice League-like group? I can't remember the name of it. It was like Black Lightning and Katana. And
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, it was. I keep thinking Defenders, but it's along the same lines where it's not a super-powered like super group, but a small version of that where they can take care of the small
street level.
More
exactly.
street level stuff. And so this one it's interesting enough as where they were going into a made up DC Universe country that decides what would you do if you find out that this country has basically given up. This villain, the super villain, has taken over the country. My will is the way. All free will go to me and none for you. And the whole country's like, whatever, you stopped all this terrible stuff from happening.
Was it Vandal Savage? That sounds like something he would do.
It's not Randall Savage, no, but it was kind of a Randall Savage type villain. And then the United States government decided to recognize that country, saying it's a legitimate country. So Justice League, you can't go in there and put a stop to this. So what it starts off with, okay, how are we going to handle this situation? Do we go in there and try to fight for the people that may not want this government, or do we walk away because it's, the government saying, no, this is a legitimate government, and some of the people in there saying, yeah, as long as you take care of all the bad stuff that was happening beforehand, we're okay with this.
Marvel actually put out, I think in the first Ultimate Alliance game, they did something very similar with Latveria and Dr. Doom.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a fun, where you actually had to make a decision of whether or not you wanted to go and take out Latveria and Dr. Doom, because it's run by a supervillain.
Oh, poor Nick Fury makes horrible decisions when he's in charge.
Was that Ultimate Alliance 1 or 2 that was based off Secret Wars?
That was the second
Civil War was actually Ultimate Alliance 2.
That was it, yes.
I think I guess you could consider Ultimate Alliance 1 a Secret Wars because there's some kind of like time lapse or something. They go back in time in order to stop the events from, I guess, when the opening of Ultimate Alliance happens. So I guess it could be considered a Secret Wars scenario.
I might be. Actually, I might.
It was its own thing, though.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it just mostly stole some little story beats and like the opening scene from it because it is. I think Luke Cage, Spider-Man, Punisher, and Wolverine assaulting Doctor Doom's house.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yeah.
No, you got it.
Nice.
Sorry, we geeked on you there.
Well, no, I just let you guys go because I was thinking as you were talking that this is probably, and I've mentioned this a number of times on the On Location show, this is about the only time that superhero or mainstream comics in this way, really gets an airing on the Comics Alternative. Every now and again, Andy and I will bring up something, but it usually is in passing or by point of comparison, but we never really get into a deep dive.
It's more for
this
Vertigo
stuff.
for you guys nowadays.
Well, not even Vertigo, unfortunately.
Or Young Animals, sorry.
I guess that's right now the closest we get to the mainstream. Yeah. And intentionally so.
Right.
Just because of the focus of the show. Not as we always say, nothing wrong with superheroes. It's just that we do something different. Our focus is a little different, except for the On Location show.
Right.
So now we started this I guess geek out session. You mentioning that the Justice League Suicide Squad crossover is ended now.
Yeah, it did.
So how many issues?
It had 6 issues.
And it started in February.
Yes.
So was this a weekly?
Yeah, it was released every week.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was that quick, huh?
Yeah, it was really quick. I was like, no, I don't want it to end yet. Released weekly so they can get out the new Justice League of America book out at the beginning of the month.
Because I know DC has started to do a number of bi-monthly titles.
Yeah.
Doing more of what Marvel has been doing for the past few years. But I didn't know that this was a weekly title.
Yeah, it was. It started off. I didn't know it was until I got issue 2, like a week later, going, "What the heck is going on?"
Does DC have any other weekly titles?
Not yet.
Okay, but this was a matter of just getting the material out because they're pressed for time.
It sounded like they were pressed for time because they wanted to put out the Justice League America, but they didn't describe some of the heroes that are going to be in there, like Lobo and stuff like that, and why Batman would do something like this against the wishes of the Justice League.
Because he's Batman. He
and that too.
he wants.
Although weekly comics with DC is not unheard of.
No. This one was, instead of having an entire year of weekly comic books, it was just a nice...
Which we had with, of course, 52.
With 52, that was really well done.
I thought it was as well. I really liked it. I've heard some people kind of disparage it, but I liked it.
That one I liked because it had lots of superheroes you don't get to see a lot of, like Black Adam and Animal Man and other heroes like that.
Is that his theme song? What did you just... you broke into song momentarily. Freaked me out.
Cartoon Network released these shorts in between, I guess it was like Teen Titans and whatever. I think either a year back or a couple years ago. And it was like a satirical version of Animal Man where he was seeing people like do stuff to animals and being like... and complain about it's like, your dog is on that fire hydrant. The clouds are on fire. Take care of this. And he would fly away by
flopping his arms
like a bird. And he would pass by Darkseid and go, "Can you believe that guy?" And then just keep going. It's actually really funny. There's like 2 or 3. You should watch it on YouTube when you get a chance.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, the very beginning of the shorts, it's Animal Man, and then sorry, I just
okay, I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so what else are you guys reading? And not just from back in February, but even here we are, the first 2 weeks of March.
Well, do you mind if I get a little mainstream for a moment here? Because today I went...
whatever.
So I went to go see Logan, actually, just a couple hours ago.
Nice.
Oh, you did? So you're fresh back from this.
Yes. So it is nice that I can now die knowing that there is a second good X-Men movie. Because up until now, there had been First Class, and that was it. But yeah, Logan was pretty good.
Do you put Logan above First Class, or?
I'm not sure, because I would really have to think about, but I would probably put Daphne Keane, the gal who plays X-23 in it, above almost everyone in First Class.
Oh yeah,
she is fantastic.
Was amazing.
Spot on.
She was really,
like
really
her.
Cool.
I'm not a fan of children. And I'm a really big. Okay, I know that it does preface the.
Are you talking about children in general, child actors?
Probably child actors.
No, children in general, but especially child actors, because I'm a film major and film is a really big deal for me. So the fact that children are usually picked just because, oh hey, they look like they can repeat things when we hold up the cue card. Instead of their acting ability, it bothers me. See, luckily for X-23, you don't have to act all that much. You just have to look cross at everybody. And her eyes are really unique looking. It's kind of hard to describe, but she does a lot of acting with just looks.
And a lot of screaming.
Yeah, a lot.
So have you guys seen Logan as well?
We went to the Before Midnight release at the Alamo Draft House.
So I'm the only one at the table who has not yet seen Logan.
Well, as we've established, you hate superhero comics.
Yes.
No,
I don't
it's really
hate
good.
superheroes, but actually, I mean, I like the movies, and for a while I was keeping up with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but over the past couple of years at least, I've really fallen behind.
I think
so. I haven't seen this one. Definitely.
If you're at least
First Class, I saw.
Yeah. If you're at least familiar with X-Men in general, I think you could probably go see this without seeing the other ones, just because it has to do with the whole Wolverine side movies. But I can't take credit for the quote, but I think somebody described it really well as a Marvel Western meets Children of Men.
That's really good.
That's a really great reference.
If you actually love, Westerns and Children of Men, which why would you not? You should definitely check out the movie at least.
Okay. Well, see, Tristan wouldn't like Children of Men because it had children in the title.
Well, no, I like children. It was okay. It's not.
She was just pregnant the entire time. It's fine.
There's no children in it.
It should be my favorite movie, actually.
Yeah. In fact, there's only one child in that movie.
Yeah. There sure is.
Sorry.
But just if anyone is still on the fence about Logan after being out for, I think, 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
The best way I could describe it is actually to steal it from a film critic whom I really like. It is probably the first mainstream, especially superhero movie that I've ever seen be a blockbuster all about disappointment.
Right, yeah.
As like the big major theme as to, what happened to the rest of the X-Men and how things turn out in the movie, and just it's not a happy time, but it is a really, really well-made movie.
It's a bit of a chase film, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm just happy for it. It also shows that you can make superhero movies and not just be a superhero punching people in the face.
Yes.
Yeah,
it
no
goes
kidding.
into a lot of deeper subjects that
A little bit more than punching people in the face.
Yeah.
R-rated claws.
Yeah. It's it really shows how brutal and devastating Wolverine can be if you are allowed to show what metal claws actually do to people. It's
like almost right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like almost a minute or two into the film.
Yep.
So yeah, I highly recommend that one. It's kind of depressing, but it's really well done. It's so well written that you're like, this is finally they get Wolverine right, and now Hugh Jackman's not going to do it again.
Yeah.
And,
This is his last one.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh man, now they finally know how to make one, and now he's not going to do anymore.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Got to be better than the last one.
Yeah.
It's much better.
And what was that? The Wolverine? That was
last X-Men movie was Age of Apocalypse.
the last Wolverine.
It was
Yeah.
the Wolverine.
Yeah. I think that's the last X movie or X-Men related movie that I've seen.
Yeah, you could watch that and totally go into this, no problem. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I completely forgot what happened in there.
That's fine.
That's all right. You don't need it. Nah.
They kind of explain what happens anyways,
Yeah.
I mean, kind of, sort of. They explain what happens in the past.
They do it in a depressing way, that's for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it's well worth the watch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, just everything from the cinematic way they chose to show it, where it's really kind of dark, and I mean, and there's the visuals that you see it, and then as he mentioned, is the girl that plays Laura X-23. She's amazing. She has more. She can show more emotion with just her face than most people can just do the whole acting stuff. And then when she gets together with Wolverine, it's just really amazing. It's a lot of fun. It's a good movie. It's really well done. You might cry at the end, but it's really well done.
Okay. Well, I'll put it on my to-see list. Not that I'll be able to see it in the theater, but, I'd like to. Just getting out to a theater is a bigger deal than it used to be, just finding the time. I guess I could do it by myself. Yeah. And I see movies by myself all the time, or at least I used to. Mm-hmm. But this is something, it's got, Jackman and Patrick Stewart.
Yep.
And so right there, I knew my wife would want to see it.
Yeah.
So
Patrick Stewart is, again, fabulous as Professor Xavier.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And now he's even scarier because it's potentially has dementia. So imagine the world's most powerful mind with Alzheimer's, and it gets why it's really kind of scary hanging out with him.
Yep.
Do they say he has Alzheimer's in the
movie?
They don't get specific.
They don't get very specific, but something is wrong with him.
At least one thing.
Yeah. But they do. One of the bad guys they're asking is like, what does he have? Dementia, Alzheimer's, mentioned a lot of other brain disorders. And imagine the world's most powerful mind that can't control it anymore.
That's kind of horrifying.
Yeah.
That just reminded me of something, actually. Time for more depressing stuff.
Thank you, Tristan.
But on the mental breakdown segue, it turns out that Steven Hillenburg, the guy who came up with SpongeBob, directed it for the first 3 seasons in the movie, and then left for a while, has ALS. So,
oh, no.
Yeah, that's a shame.
That is a shame.
I just remembered that. Sorry, when we mentioned.
Okay.
No.
Okay, guys, that's it. That's it for the Comics Alternative. It's just too depressing. We're going to wrap it up.
Well, that's too bad.
Thanks a lot, guys.
See you next time.
If I feel like doing this again, I'm just so down now. Just pack up the entire podcast. Actually, this is the last episode of the Comics Alternative. It's been great, guys. It's been a good 4.5 year run.
Continue.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
But wow. Okay. Well, on that note, we'll try and bring it up.
So what? Okay. So the film here. What you got a big stack by you, and you're picking up these comics. So what are you looking forward to reading, Craig?
Looking forward to reading. I'm looking forward to reading a lot of things.
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff in there.
One of it is, they finally put out the comic book version of American Gods by Neil Gaiman, and it's drawn by P. Craig Russell, he's doing the writing. I'm sorry. That's my fault.
There are a few pages toward the back that are drawn by P. Craig Russell.
Yes, but the script and layouts are by P. Craig. The art's by Scott Hampton. I'm sorry about that.
Let me warn you, and by the way, you probably have not listened to the latest regular review show, the episode of Comics Alternative that came out just today, right?
I was going to say, no, I have not done.
Okay, we discuss American Gods. If you're a real...
No spoilers.
Well, no. I mean, if you're the kind of person who cannot handle any spoilers whatsoever, don't read the brief synopsis that I think, looking at it now, because I was reading from a PDF. I think it's on the inside front page.
Don't do it.
Don't.
Yeah.
Okay? The reason, and in fact, that's the only thing about this first issue of American Gods that Andy and I had a problem with, is there's a synopsis that when I first read it, because I had not read, neither had Andy, the original novel.
Oh, and I have.
And so, it may not be as spoilery for you, but when I read that, it's written in such a way that it seems as if things came before the story that we're about to read in issue number 1 of American Gods. But then once we started to read American Gods issue 1, it's basically a comics version, for the most part, of that synopsis at the very beginning. But in the synopsis, you get more instances, more events, more things happening that doesn't occur in this first issue. And we were wondering about the reasoning for this. Why include it?
Odd.
Because even if it only contained one paragraph write-up of everything in this first issue, why would you do that? Because there's spoilers in there.
It's kind of odd, because the novel doesn't do that. It's...
it's a regular novel.
I was looking through it, I was looking through it, I was like, wow, there's a lot of stuff of him in prison, which the novel doesn't. It starts right as he gets off prison and finds out that his wife dies, and he's on the way to...
That's this first issue, right? And I think they do.
It doesn't do any of the what you were mentioning before,
right? And they do a great job of setting things up in this first issue. Yeah. So I think that as a first issue, as a number one issue, it does what it needs to do. Both, I think, for those who are familiar with American Gods, the novel, and those like me who are not familiar with it. My problem is that synopsis at the very beginning. Don't read that.
That's weird.
Because it'll piss you off.
Yeah, that's interesting. But do you think, like, because it's going to be coming a TV show soon, do you think it's going to have to do that whole synopsis first, too? Or
no.
Didn't the first episode actually drop a couple of days ago?
If it did, I missed it. I don't know.
I know I saw a review on some other website that had good ratings for it. I was like, are they
maybe they had a preview
the first
copy.
issue with...
Yeah, they may have gotten a preview, because I don't remember because I don't remember it coming out yet. But,
okay. That rarely ever happens for me.
But no, anyways, that one I'm kind of looking forward to. But now they talked about the synopsis part. But anyways, American Gods, fantastic novel. I hope the comic book continues to follow at least the novel part. If you're a fan of Neil Gaiman's writings, then I recommend necking the novel. But if you want to check out the comic first, I think it'll be okay. That one, Amy Chu is doing Red Sonja now, and what's interesting about that one is they brought Red Sonja into the modern day world. So it's kind of funny how she's interacting with modern society not very well, and the fact that she doesn't mind wearing clothes and modern society kind of frowns on that. That's been really, really cool. And of
she
course,
doesn't mind wearing clothes?
Well, she doesn't mind not wearing clothes.
Okay,
yeah, because you've seen her chainmail bikini. So.
Right. I was about to say, does she still wear her chainmail bikini in contemporary times?
Yes.
Well, it's
yeah.
Yeah, because she wouldn't be Red Sonja without that, right?
I mean, there are a couple towns here in the States that she could go to, and everyone would just look at her and be like, that's just normal for walking around here, like New York City.
Like, she wears clothes, actual clothes that cover her, like maybe 1 or 2 pages. So it's interesting, but it has a good sense of humor where they finally get her to wear actual clothes. And she's like, well, this won't protect anything. It doesn't. There's no metal. There's no nothing. And they're looking at her chainmail bikini. He's like, well, neither does this. It's like,
that's fair.
Yeah, so that's been a fun show, a fun comics. It really does a good job of mixing the humor, the ridiculousness of it with humor, but yet it still has, if you like Red Sonja and the violence of Red Sonja, it's still there. And stuff like that. So that's been a lot of fun. The new Monsters Unleashed miniseries is coming close to an end. That's been pretty good, about a kid who can actually, if he draws monsters, they actually come to life. And the Marvel Universe has to deal with all of these monsters showing up. So that's been kind of fun. It's just, if you just like giant monster stuff, that's pretty much what it is. There's not much else to it, but it is fun watching the rest of the Marvel Universe trying to deal with all these giant monsters and where they come from.
Right. Did you, Craig, did you get a chance to read the first issue of Grass Kings yet?
No, I haven't. That came out last week?
It did.
Yeah. No, I haven't, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Is it?
Yeah. It's almost the same thing with the American Gods, where it has the synopsis on the back instead of in the front cover, though. But you could probably go into it without reading the synopsis, because it pretty much happens on the last 4 pages. And I think if you guys review it at a later date, it would probably be recommended to get issues 1 and 2, because the majority of issue 1 is mostly exposition. Like, here's this character, here's this town. These are all, we're establishing all these, prerequisites. Can't even say it. For what's going to actually happen, and nothing really does happen until the last 3 or 4 pages, and I feel like I probably would have been better if I read issue 1 and 2 back to back.
I'm glad to hear you say that for this reason. We plan on having Matt Kent on the Comics Alternative.
Oh, no. Don't let him listen to me.
No, hear me out. We were going to have him on around the time that issue 1 came out.
Right.
However, there were some complications in terms of our scheduling.
Right.
And so what I have asked him, and in fact this reminds me I need to email him again after tonight when I get home,
right.
After this, is to talk with him at a later date, perhaps in April, after the second issue is out, and we can talk with him about that. But Grass Kings, but other things as well. Department H, and his many other thousands of comics that he seems to write and or draw.
Yeah, that would be.
So now this is good to know that the first issue, your impression was it was good, but you got a sense of incompleteness that the second issue may bring.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, don't get me wrong. You can check out the first issue, and it's absolutely beautiful. The landscaping, the way that they draw the town, even the people, the shading and the lighting. It's just that nothing really kind of happens until the very end, and then you pretty much just get the synopsis of on the back.
Right, and he's not the artist of that. That's Jenkins?
Yeah, Tyler Jenkins.
Yes, who did Peter Panzerfaust.
Yes.
And more recently, Snowball. That miniseries, that's right. So I'm looking forward to... I haven't read the first issue of Grass Kings, and I probably should have by now, but I got kind of lax when we decided, okay, we don't have time to talk with Matt in time for issue number 1.
Right.
So I look forward to that.
But it would be serendipitous if you waited. Yeah.
Good. Because you have a list there.
Well, yeah, I just wrote a couple of things down that I've been reading lately, and of course, Shade the Changing Girl. I finally finished the first arc with issue 6, so really, really good, and a very interesting ending. Really dying to know exactly how it plays out in the next arc because of Shade and the young animals. It's very strange, so it's kind of not what you think. Mm-hmm. So check it out if you can. But
I like Shade. Shade the Changing Girl.
Is Shay a monthly title?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, because I remember you said issue 6.
Yeah.
I remember you actually mentioning that series on the last On Location I was on all the way back in the day.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Issue 5
I think it had just started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Issue 5, I think last time I was mentioning it, I guess that was issue 4, but issue 5 is where it starts to really pick up and the action starts happening. And then issue 6 kind of bundles it all nice and wraps it up with still questions and concerns at the end of the issue. I'm looking forward to... I think in one of the preview sections is that she's going to head to Gotham next to see... not that she needs to find herself, but do something there. So I can't remember exactly what it had for the synopsis for the next story arc, but it should be interesting to see if she actually meets any of the other superheroes or not.
Oh God, I hope
she doesn't. But
No.
Gotham is full of crazy people, and with the madness, with the M-Vest on, she is sure to invite some things upon herself.
Yeah, also, I mean, I think that one of the strengths of the Young Animal series is the fact that it's both inside or a part of the DC universe, while at the same time not really firmly tethered, I think, except for Mother Panic, which is the reason of the Young Animal titles so far. That's the one that I like the least, not because it's a bad story. It's just... why not make that a part of the regular DC universe? It's based in Gotham. Everything that goes on in DC seems to be based, or at least a good part of it, in Gotham. Mm-hmm. And so that just becomes something that's expected. So hearing that Shade the Changing Girl may go to Gotham in the next story arc, that worries me.
Well, it may do the same thing with... in Mother Panic, has she met Batman or any of the other major villains or superheroes or anything like that?
I've only read the first couple of issues, and outside of... there's an awareness of others in the DC universe in Mother Panic in ways that you don't find in the other Young Animal titles.
Right.
And so, and again, that's what I like about the Young Animal series.
I think they're going to do the exact same thing with Shades of the Changing Girl. She probably is not going to meet anybody else that maybe a super seedy underbelly, or maybe she will do something streetwise where she won't, meet any A-listers, so to say. But yeah, I'm hoping too that it stays on the level of what the first arc accomplished. Yeah. And then, actually, a couple of weeks ago, read the first issue of Heathen, which was really good.
Nice. Yeah, that is really good.
Is Heathen the title that Sabrina has been touting?
Yes.
For months on end?
Yeah, for months on end. It finally has...
Sabrina, for those listening who may not recall, she is the manager of Valhalla Games and Comics, and many times she joins us, not today.
Yep. So. Unfortunately, no. She had to leave earlier today for several reasons. But she has been touting Heathen since she heard about it, and she also got an early copy thanks to Kickstarter about that, and she's been
she got the complete trade. And I can jump on that bandwagon and say that I really enjoy it so far. It's certainly very interesting, the art style as well, but yeah, I'd recommend it.
Who's the publisher of that?
Oh, shoot.
Because wasn't it originally either self-published or a very small press, but now self-published?
It was originally self-published, hence the Kickstarter stuff, but I can't remember who she did it with when it finally got made. I can't remember if it was Image or...
Well, we can't look up on the shelf because it's sold out.
Yes, no, it is definitely sold out. But that's a good... If you love Viking tales, it's a great... Heathen.
Yeah.
Vault, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Vault is the... And Nick, who many times joins us for the show, but now works at the shop, he has to tend, cash registers. So.
Yeah, I've got to make sure customers get taken care of. So.
Yeah, little things like that. Earning the money.
Making money, it's slightly...
Keeping the store viable.
I kind of like this place. It's kind of a nice place.
So the publisher, again, is Vault? Okay.
Yes.
Well, that is a small press. Mm-hmm. So it was self-published, but now it's with a small press. Okay.
And I believe it's a 4-issue miniseries. That's what they're doing. It's not going to be very long.
Yeah.
So 4-issue miniseries.
Yeah, definitely check it out, especially if you love... This was a very unique take on Viking tales because it deals... The main character is a woman, and she's trying to get to Valhalla. But, of course, women don't go to Valhalla. That's reserved for men. She's like, watch me.
And,
highly recommended.
It's really high praise for that one. That one's a really good one.
But Tristan, do you have time to read?
Yeah,
being in school.
I do, but due to being somewhat younger than most of my peers here at the Comics Alternative and here at the comic shop, really, I've been reading a lot of older stuff recently, and I finally have had the time to start getting into a series that I've heard a lot about and I really like so far. And I'm going to butcher this name, but
Monster!
Naoki Urasawa's Monster, which I have heard is very, very, very good, and so far is very, very, very good.
Is that the first volume of the Perfect Edition?
Oh, two.
Okay.
Yeah. He could attest to how good that series is.
Yeah. And in fact, it's interesting. When I saw you bringing that out of your bag, I thought, oh my God, because that was one thing that I was ready to bring up tonight about what I've been reading over the past month. Knowing that I was going to be going down to Charlotte, North Carolina because of my dad and would be there by myself and would probably get a lot of reading done, I brought all my issues, all the volumes of Monster, because I think I had read up to volume 5 and then had just become a little lax on it. So I got to go back and reread everything. So when I was down there, I read everything, reread 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then went all the way to the end, volume 9. Good. Really is good. I mean, there are parts in the series that I wondered, like getting into volume 6, 7, maybe 8, it's like, get some traction, let's go. But I do think that Urasawa does a good job of when he deviates from the main storyline. So, for instance, I mean, the main story is Tenma, this Japanese physician, a surgeon who is living in Germany. He is accused of murder, and so he's on the run. So it has that kind of fugitive feel to it. But at the same time, he is trying to stop this young character who is a monster, who is a cold-blooded killer, and he's got a really messed up life.
That's putting it lightly.
But when he deviates, when Urasawa deviates from the main storyline to flesh out other characters and other situations, he does a really good job. And he really does. He does well at creating a viable story world. And there were times where he was so good at fleshing out the tangential elements of Monster, the main storyline, that I thought, let's get back to the main storyline because I want to see what happens next. But I was impatient. So it's really good.
Yep, fantastic. And also something I've been catching up a little bit on, but not quite as much as I want to. Attack on Titan, another comic series I'm sure you guys have heard of. Yep. So I was actually reading that back when it was coming out, and then eventually, I think around volume 13, 14, he decided to take a hiatus, and I was like, okay, you go ahead and do that, pal. That's good. Don't burn out on this, especially since there's only going to be 20 volumes. And I kind of lost interest during the hiatus. But a friend of mine who finished it, the comics, because the show is not back for season 2 yet, assured me that the driving force behind the plot, what's in the basement, all they told me is that it is very much worth it. So that's good to hear, I guess.
It's back on, right? I mean, the manga is still coming out.
I believe the original series, just Attack on Titan Vanilla, is done. I think volume 20 came out.
Oh, okay.
But the side stuff, like Levi's Adventures and whatever the other one was, yeah. Well,
are they still going on with Attack on Titan High School?
I have no idea. I refuse.
That's an interesting series right there.
Yeah. There's a nice little anime manga shop near my house, and as soon as I see that kind of stuff, I just kind of turn my head.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
I'm jealous myself.
Hey, yeah. Well, that's what the price I pay for getting to be able to walk to that place. I have to go through traffic to get here.
Well, what is this manga shop you live next to?
Shout out.
Near.
Oh, am I allowed to shield them?
No, yeah, shout out.
All right, so that is Anime Pop. You can find them at Anime Pop Shop. I believe that's their website name. On Beltline, pretty much just on Beltline in Addison, Texas. They look for the pink and green sign. It's great. It's got all your fantastic weeaboo needs, such as comics and cartoons and the like.
Do they just deal in anime or just specific things like manga?
Do you mean, do they have anything Western?
No, I mean, like, do they just centralize around anime, or do they have figures? Do they have anime DVDs? And
they have DVDs, Blu-ray. Basically, they have video media of your liking and formats you might like. They have the comics. They have figures. They have clothing, and they've got a small little selection of clothing and like backpacks and messenger bags in the back. But they've got just kind of a lot of everything, mostly figures.
And the name of the shop again is
Anime Pop.
Anime Pop
On Beltline Road in Addison, Texas.
Have to check that out.
I have to check it out too. Yeah.
Yep.
Because in fact, what is? I was just looking that up earlier today. There's an international Kinkokunya. It's a bookstore, Japanese bookstore, stationery store, and I'm sure I'm butchering that name. Kinokunia. Kinokuniya. And they just opened not too long ago a shop in Carrollton, and they're going to, or it may already be open, a shop in Plano.
Oh, wow.
Do they have like drawing supplies and stuff like that? Because importing fine art pins from Japan is kind of expensive.
They might. So you may want to go check them out. I've been to the one in Carrollton.
Yeah.
And that's really nice.
Okay.
So, and I don't know if the one in Plano is open yet or not.
Yeah, it's something to look forward to then.
So, yeah, I wanted to check out what kind of manga they had, both in English but also in Japanese. Not that I could read Japanese, but I was just curious.
Oh, yeah. It's good to peruse anyways, through the aisles.
You can look at the cool pictures.
Yeah. There you go, yeah.
What people did with Berserk for a while.
This guy's shouting a lot. I like it.
I think that might actually be why I'm so drawn to Monster of all things, is that despite being a Japanese series, it doesn't go for the usual styles and trappings of their media. It's not it's not, oh, here's my cute little sister and that guy killed my uncle or something. It's just,
well, there's plenty of killing in it.
Oh, definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah, it certainly sets a mood, doesn't it?
Yeah. But I think that's something I'd like to see more from creators in any industry, any medium, is trying to take on the style of what you see in other countries. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
For the world of gaming, for instance, that's what From Software, that's how they found their success with Dark Souls, is go for Western Europe, medieval architecture and such.
Yeah, you don't really see a lot of Japanese anime that takes place in other countries.
You got Full Metal Alchemist, which is fantasy Nazi Germany, and
there's Tanya of the evil, or
I know exactly
that takes place in the fake Germany,
something like that. Yeah, but yeah, not a whole lot.
Yeah,
of course, back in the 80s, you got stuff like this amazing one screen cap from Pokemon's localization, the original show. I love this jelly donut, and he's holding up a rice ball.
I remember that.
But we have come a long way.
Yes,
maybe.
Yes, we have. Sorry. Memories.
No, I find myself being drawn more and more to manga, and spending more of my time reading manga and trying to get caught up with manga than with Western comics. So.
Yeah, there's something just riveting about comics from another country, isn't there?
It's interesting, if nothing else.
Yeah, different cultures and whatnot.
Seeing the different styles.
Well, yeah, I mean, and for me, it's not so much, it's part of another culture. I want to see what that's about. It's kind of like just, good storytelling. Good Night Pun Pun, one of my favorites from last year. I'm very much caught up with that. That's another one that I got caught up on when I was in North Carolina last month. But also, I just want to see what the hubbub is about. Right. Because I hear... you got to read. People tell me you got to read this. You got to check this out.
I can go on for days.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Attack on Titan. That's something that my daughter Zoe, for a couple of years now, has been trying to get me to read. You got to read this, Dad. You got to read this, Dad.
I was about to say, when you said that you've been trying to catch up more on more Japanese stuff, especially, I first thing in my head, because full disclosure or disclaimer, both. I met Zoe through school for a bit, and then I graduated a year ahead. First time I ever met her, she was wearing an Attack on Titan jacket.
Yes,
and I was just thinking, you have the family influence.
Yes, there's the family influence. And so, what actually caused me, because she likes cosplaying, and what ultimately forced me to read it was a combination of her every now and again asking me, when are you going to read this? And Shay and I, a few months ago, deciding to read the Attack on Titan anthology that Kodansha put out, which are Attack on Titan stories by non-Japanese creators, by Western creators. Many of them, most of them established artists whose names you would recognize. And so before I read that, I thought, okay, I've got to get at least a few volumes of Attack on Titan under my belt. And Zoe has those two, what do you call it, the back-breaking compendiums?
The omnibuses?
Yes.
The Colossal Edition for Attack
the Colossal Edition, right, exactly. And so I didn't quite get through all the way through the first one, but I got the vast majority of it done. So, I got a sense of what Attack on Titan was, and that was useful in reading the anthology because there were certain references I probably wouldn't have gotten had I not first read some Attack on Titan.
That's something kind of interesting that I don't see anywhere outside of Japan, which is the little anthology bits that you mentioned, where it's almost like a collection. It's like a collection of sketches, almost not like artistic sketches, like comedy skits, almost. Where, I mean, they're not always comedy, but you just throw a whole bunch of disconnected might not be the right word, but
You're not talking about 4 comas, are you?
Not quite.
No?
I mean, people do sometimes do them like that, but I mean specifically the get a collection of unrelated, except for the settings, stories together, and let's see what people can do. And
it's kind of paying homage,
yeah,
to this, very famous established title, and so that's what this anthology was all about.
And I remember doing that. Words are fun. I remember them doing that with Neon Genesis Evangelion, and boy, is it kind of a weird tonal dissonance to be reading the world of Evangelion and everything's just played for laughs, because boy, that show is something.
Oh yeah.
But I'm curious if the reason that you don't see that a whole lot here in the States or possibly in Europe is because generally shared authorship of these worlds is more common. You don't get the one person who writes Batman for a decade unless they are the defined. Yeah, I should have ordered this better, but unless it's Chris Claremont who defines the character for a decade.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just okay. You write them for this couple months, and then you write this new story for this couple months, which has been the style for comics for a while.
That, and also you get into some copyright problems.
There's that too.
But yeah, back when there was a time way back in the olden days. Where they didn't take themselves as seriously, where they actually had Stan Lee take on his version of Batman and Superman and stuff like that, Catwoman, and then a lot of at that time, they were well-known DC artists take on like the X-Men and the Avengers and stuff like that. And those it was fun seeing other people that aren't known for Batman take on Batman. But yeah, right. You don't see a lot of it very often. Every once in a while, you'll get something like Batman will have just short stories done by famous authors from other mediums, but not a lot.
A few years ago, though, Marvel did have that series of stories, and I think that they were ultimately collected in 2 volumes, I think, of short stories or anthology, short pieces about Marvel characters by Indian alternative artists.
Yeah.
So you had people like Peter Bagg, for example, or Evan Dorkin, or others doing those kind of stories.
Yeah.
What was the title of that series?
God, I remember that coming out too.
I'm blanking.
But I don't remember the title of it.
Yeah, but those were fun. I remember reading those at the time.
Those are
and
really
I read
fun.
them because they were alternative artists.
Yeah.
People that I'm familiar with. Oh, okay, yeah, I want to check these out. I mean, I'm not a big Hulk fan, but I will read someone like a Peter Bagg doing a Hulk.
Right, yeah, and that's why I'm kind of amazed that Japan finds that easier to do than American artists, because we don't do it very often here.
The way that
the only titles that I can think of that happened recently was I think a couple of years ago, Harley Quinn, a couple of specials where in the issue it would actually switch artists completely. And then Rat Queens went back and forth for a couple of issues where they switch artists and stuff like that.
Well, but that was different. No,
I think that was before all the hullabaloo. They had somebody from that I know from DeviantArt doing a one issue specifically, or maybe it was one page in an issue. I can't remember.
Now, up until in the first volume, Rat Queens had, I believe, 3 artists. Okay, there was Upchurch, there was Cedric, and
think so, yeah.
then what's her name, who was the one with the last several issues of that first volume. I'm blanking. And I should know this because I just discussed this the other day. We were on this week's show. We discussed Rat Queens #1 in the second volume, and we were talking about the change in artist. But I think that's a matter of necessity. What you're referring to is something a little different, and that's something that is more of a matter of fun. right? Where you get a lot of creators together, almost like a jam, except instead of everyone contributing to the same work, they contributed to the same property, within a limited space, right? A release or a miniseries or what have you. Now, I know that the first issue of Harley Quinn from a few years ago, the one that really started the Harley Quinn craze, if we can call that the Harley.
Sure.
That first issue intentionally used a variety of different artists, but that was part of the joke of that issue.
Yes.
And so that's something more akin to, I think, what we're talking about here, as opposed to, like the Rat Queens example, they were just going with different artists as a matter of necessity because of
stuff that happened.
Yeah, circumstances.
So, what did you think of the new the Rat Queens issue 1?
Oh, I liked it.
Yeah.
It was really good. I thought that Gianni's art is really nice. I mean, I've liked all the artists on Rat Queens, but this is something that both Andy and I commented on, that Gianni's art, I mean, it's not the same as Upchurch's, but it's not dissimilar, and the reason why I found that pleasing is just because I first read I can't even talk tonight. I first read Rat Queens, say that 3 times quickly, when Upchurch was the artist, and so that's the art that I fell in love with when I fell in love with a story, and so of course there's some kind of romantic, nostalgic feel for that, and so when I see art that is somewhat reminiscent of that, it's like, great. But even outside of the similarities in art, I think it's a really good story. They're bringing Braga into it more directly now. Oh, good. And I think it's pretty good starting point for people who may not be familiar with the first volume of Rat Queens, and if they want to start with this issue, they can. I mean, they can get much more if they know at least some of the Rat Queens from Volume 1. But I like where they're going here.
Now, it's a sequel or a reimagining? I still haven't read my issue number 1.
It's picking up where it left off for all practical purposes, which raises the one issue that I had with issue number 1 of Rat Queens Volume 2 is, why is it issue number 1 of Volume 2? Why not issue number, I think would have been 17, I think. Yeah. But I can see the economic reasons why they would want to renumber in another volume. I'm sure that the sales for this issue is going to be much better than it would have been had we had a delayed issue 17. Right. And it could have been because of whatever was going on behind the scenes that caused the delay, because I think April of last year is when we had the last issue.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds about right.
Yeah, so it's not quite a year. So it's been a long time. Maybe a number 1 to start things going again.
Well, to be, I mean, with the can't talk right now. The new Sabrina series has been on the back burner, as well as The Dying and the Dead, and that finally.
Are you talking about Sabrina at Archie that started about 2 years
Sabrina
ago?
Archie, yeah. And it hasn't had a issue, I think 7 or 6. I don't even know when the release date is.
It's as frequent as Afterlife with Archie.
Yeah, it's like bi-yearly or something by now. But yeah, I mean, the new Dying and the Dead one was I can't even remember when issue 3 came out. I think it was like
something going on at the publisher. Or?
I think it's just the creator, Jonathan Hickman and his time, because he's doing a lot of other things. And in fact, in the current previews catalog, there is a solicit for.
Volume 1,
4? No. I think it's the next issue of The Dying and the Dead.
It should be issue 4, yeah.
And then along with that, they're issuing. It's not like a trade in the traditional sense, but it's I think it's just one. I don't know if you want to call it a trade or a really long comic that includes the first 3 issues. I guess it's a trade because those were long issues. In ways that will help people to catch up. So if you don't even know what The Dying and the Dead is because it's been such a long time since we had a release of an issue, then they're releasing issue number 4 and a volume that has the first 3 issues, so you can get it on the ground floor just as people did a year and a half ago.
I can imagine the first volume or the special edition would be pretty meaty because those first 3 issues were, I don't know, it was like 24 or 32 pages each, somewhere around that. So along the lines of like Monstrous, where the first few issues were super thick, well worth your money. But yeah, I mean, if it's decently priced, I'll definitely pick up that anyways, just to kind of have it on hand. And of course, I'll pick up volume 4 or issue 4.
Issue 4.
Yeah. We can only hope there's a volume 4 somewhere in the future. That series is really good. I feel like I actually need to reread 1 through 3 in order to catch up on it. It's been such a long time.
Well, do that. Then read issue 4 when it comes out in another month and a half, and then report back.
Month and a half.
Nice.
That's why they call it a preview.
Yeah, that's true.
Another thing I was reading the other day was I don't think recently put to press, but the webcomic in book form of Lucky Penny by Anthony Hirsch. I thought that was pretty interesting. It certainly had a lot of inspirations from Scott Pilgrim without being all nerdy.
In terms of the art or the story?
The style. Like the art was very reminiscent. The facial expressions when certain things would happen and their eyes would like either get really big or really small. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I recommend people to go
check out the site, Lucky Penny.
Yeah, on JohnnyWanderer.com, I think, is the webcomic page. But yeah, I think it's just in one volume.
And who's putting it out? Is it Dark Horse
Oni Press,
Image?
I think.
Oni, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there are certain publishers that have been putting out consistently or relatively consistently webcomics in print form, and Dark Horse has done a lot of that. Image has done a lot. To a lesser degree, IDW, but I know that Oni has not as much as the others, but that's good. That you have more than a couple of publishers who are doing this on a fairly regular basis,
right? But yeah, I mean, aside from that, just reading webcomics. So.
You're saying you're
all
shaking.
this.
You're shaking.
It's like I don't read a lot of webcomics, so I've always
You don't read any webcomics at all?
I read very few.
Okay.
But that's why I look forward to this type of stuff, because you guys mentioned stuff like, oh, that sounds really cool. I've never heard of it, so maybe I need to get online and read some of it.
Well,
or you can listen to our monthly webcomics
I
episode.
can also do that. That's also what things I look forward to is the monthly. That one and the manga, because I don't read a lot of like Monster or any of that. I don't read a lot of that stuff, mainly because it's so intimidating to me walking into a store and just like seeing everything, like where do I even start? And
now see this. Okay, this is an interesting comment that you just make, because I mean you are enmeshed in the superhero world.
Yes,
I mean, definitely Marvel. Well, DC as well, but you talk a lot about the Marvel and. See, I think that someone who has little, if any, experience with the superhero genre coming into, let's say, the Marvel universe or the DC universe, they would be even more intimidating than you feel by manga. I mean, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Like, where do you start? But someone would feel the same way coming into a world that you're very familiar. I mean, where would they start?
Yeah,
with
Marvel? I understand it. That was the first time I understand when I walked into a store like that, and like I don't know where to begin. I really don't even know where to start, and then it's realized, wow, I bet you this. You know, now I understand some of my coworkers when I talk comic books to them, they're like, I don't even know where to start. It's like. It's like, well, come to the comic book store with me and I'll help.
Well, if you a good manga to recommend if you like superheroes is My Hero Academia.
Okay.
If you ever just kind of check out the first issue of that and see how you like it.
Or there's always the classic, I think still is probably unsurpassed superhero comic from Japan is Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
well, that is a deep dive, though. Well, it's a lot of investment to. Because the original Dragon Ball.
Oh, sorry.
Or Dragon Ball Z.
Skip Dragon Ball when he's a dumb kid. Go to Dragon Ball Z when things are interesting.
It's still like what 45.
Let's see. Yeah, because there's the Saiyan arc, then the Frieza arc, then the Cell games. Boo. Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot.
Read the Frieza and Cell sagas, and then you're pretty good.
Yeah, probably.
No, you want a deep dive, go read Berserk.
Good.
Yeah, I've heard that one. Yeah, both of those have been.
That's not really a superhero.
You know what? That's fair. Guts is not whom I would describe as a hero.
Yeah, not really.
So you were mentioning, My Hero Academia?
Yeah.
Now, Shay has tried to get me to read that for the manga series, and I haven't said no. It's just the one or two times he's brought it up, I've also had other ideas, like, why don't we read such and such? And he said, oh, okay. He doesn't push back. He doesn't say, I really want us to read this. We should.
Well, I just think of it as a recommendation for me as well.
Okay. I'll have to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
I know that over the next few months we're kind of backed up in terms of the manga titles that we'd like to read.
There's so much manga.
Oh, yeah.
No, there's a lot. And I'm sure, just like regular Western comics, there's good stuff and bad stuff.
Oh, there's...
one of the things that we have to deal with, or at least to keep in mind, is something that we want to discuss. Is it going to be an ongoing, or is it an ongoing series to where it's kind of prohibitive for us to discuss it? In other words, to get caught up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, there are a couple of series, relatively recent series from Kodansha, Sweetness and Lightning and Happiness.
Oh, yeah.
And those are just on the first, right now, 4 and 5 volumes.
Yeah.
And something like that we can still get in, I think, and use one of those titles as, let's say, one of the two that we discuss. That's doable. But when you're talking about a series that, they're into volume 12 and we want to discuss it for the manga show, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And so... that may be something that we would like to discuss, but it's too much work.
If you started on One Piece, you would have to make it a weekly thing, just all devoted to One Piece.
Oh, yeah.
You would have to make it a daily thing.
Yeah,
to catch up.
If I recall correctly, a couple years ago, someone asked the author, whose name escapes me, how much of the story he had planned out, because it's really unfortunately common in comics industries on both sides of the ocean to just have people who don't plan the story out to the ending, so they're not really sure how it's going to end, like Berserk. But someone asked him, and he said, well, I definitely have it all planned out, and we're about halfway done. That was back in 2013, I believe, and so it's projected to go to 2026.
Wow.
And while I'm not the biggest fan of One Piece, and that's just the comics, so the show will still be coming out for years after that, I imagine, they're up to chapter, if I recall right, on the show, they're up to past episode 700, I believe.
I think the anime is catching up with the manga, because the manga is like up to 700 something, right?
Chapter-wise?
Yeah.
I don't watch or read it enough to tell you.
Like book 700 something.
So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of One Piece, but I will say the guy who does everything behind it seems to be a really cool guy.
Yeah.
They had a Make-A-Wish Foundation thing not too long ago where a dying child's last wish was to know what happens at the end of One Piece.
Oh, I heard about that,
so
yeah.
he went to the kid and he told him, and that kid was the only other person on Earth who knew it besides him. And then I imagine, being that it's the Make-A-Wish Foundation, it went back to just being the author.
Right.
Yeah, but when I heard that was just it seemed like a really cool thing to do.
Yeah.
Especially
that's very cool.
because that kid would probably be in, graduating high school by the time... I mean, normally it would almost be done with high school by the time it was done.
That's epic to think about, that series would be going on that long.
Yeah, that's a crazy long series. And in fact, last year... You know how Viz does these 3-in-1 big volumes where you get 3 volumes in one book?
Yep.
I got the one from One Piece because I wanted to see what was it about. I'd seen so much reference to it. So many people discuss it or dismiss it. I said, okay, I got to see for myself what this is about. And so I ordered it from Amazon, and it was delivered with something else that someone in the family was expecting, right?
Sure.
And I wasn't at home when the package arrived. And so my daughter Zoe was there when they opened the package, and whatever other thing for the household they got out. But then Zoe wondered, why is this big volume of One Piece? And she just assumed correctly that her father ordered it. And so when I got home, she said, "Are you really going to do this?" And I said, what do you mean? Read the book? She said, "No, read everything." And I said, "No, I don't have to. I mean, I just wanted to see what it's about. Mm-hmm. And, if I like it enough, I'll read, the next 3 volumes. But I just wanted to see what the first 3 volumes is all about in One Piece."
You know what the sad thing is that if you got one of those for giant volumes for One Piece, you still have maybe 10 or 15 of them by now.
Yeah.
Of this giant epic omnibus. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But that you were talking about, Craig, where to start. If it's a Viz property, they do have those. In fact, I'm looking up right there. There's Ranma 1/2. They do those in the 3-in-1 as well. So a lot of the popular series, they have the 3-in-1. So that would be kind of a relatively economical, self-contained way of getting caught up.
Sure. They've got. Looks like here at Valhalla Comics, they have the Yu-Gi-Oh ones for that too as well. And I remember back when I was trying to get back into a series I read back when I was younger. I can't remember what it. No, I know it. Negima, which does not hold up super great. They did that as well. I'm not sure if that was Viz, but I know they were doing the 3-in-1s as well.
Now, is that Yu-Gi-Oh! Zero or the original, or
all I see is the
ongoing series for Yu-Gi-Oh?
No, that looks like the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Big Dumb Hair.
Big dumb hair.
They all the Yu-Gis have big dumb hair.
Well, Yu-Gi Millennium Puzzle pink outer edge.
Okay, so it's not Zero.
This is interesting. The On Location show has now turned into the manga episode.
Yep.
Woohoo!
That's cool, though. That's awesome.
I'm just trying to read stuff.
Hey, like I said,
No, it's it's something that is on a number of our minds. So I know that the last time we were together in January, we were talking about what we were looking forward to for 2017. Has anyone read one of the things they were looking forward to a couple of months ago?
Highlander.
Okay,
Highlander. Maybe the only one excited about
So that's
this.
the very first issue?
Second issue.
Oh, the second issue. Okay.
Yeah, the first issue came out, last month. So I'm
Oh, that's right, because you did mention that in January. I remember, and we were speculating that this may be the first time that Highlander was in a comic.
Yeah.
I don't think it's so. I think I saw somewhere after our recording that there was a previous Highlander.
Oh, nice. Because I was trying to remember if it ever became in comic book form, and I couldn't remember at all. But this one, it's if you like Highlander, this is, again, it's it talks a lot about his past, and it's the original Highlander, Connor McLeod.
So it's a prequel to the movies? Or
it's
kind of hard to explain?
Kind of hard to explain where it falls in the movie verse, thanks to the movies being all messed up. But yeah, it's kind of a prequel to the actual first movie, where it talks a lot about. It's kind of like if you watch the TV show at all. It's kind of
there's a TV show?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Only that one was with a different McLeod.
Right. Sure.
Different McLeod, but because they couldn't get the original Connor McLeod to do a TV show because he was a movie actor.
Right.
It's Christopher Lambert, right?
Yeah, Christopher Lambert. Yeah, and not that his movie career did wonders, but he thought of himself that way. But it's kind of a similar vein where stuff that are happening in the current day have happened in the past, and so he's meeting villains that he met back in the past and now are popping up in the present day. And so, if like I said, if you're kind of a fan of that type of stuff, it's really, really well done, and it's I like being in the Highlander universe, and the idea of an immortal man is always been a kind of a cool story arc of how he deals with just being immortal. And
you just like the parts where he lops off people's heads with a
that
sword.
That too, and the quickening, and all that type of stuff. So that one's been really, really cool. What was the other one? Oh, Star Trek has done some deviation stuff that just came out here. So the deviation that came out this week is First Contact was made with the Vulcans. But what if it was the Romulans that showed up first? And how would the Star Trek universe be different if the Romulans showed up? And that one it looks like a really fun read. And hopefully they'll do more deviations where it's kind of like what if in the Star Trek universe.
You'll have to wait a year.
Probably. Well, no, the new comic book day is coming up, and they have another deviation where it deals with the mirror universe. Only
that's right.
The next generation stuff.
Yeah, sweet.
So if you're looking for new comic book day coming up...
You mean free comic book day?
Free comic book day, yes, sorry. Free comic book day.
Every Wednesday's new comic book day, isn't it?
It's all right.
I must be catching all of yours I can't speak thing. But free comic book day is coming first Saturday in May, and they'll have a Star Trek one where it deals with the mirror universe, so you can have Jean-Luc Picard with the evil beard and all that good stuff.
So has anybody managed to catch any of the new Star Trek show, Discovery, I believe it's
It
called?
has not come out yet, but...
It hasn't?
No, it has not.
Oh.
Because they just found their captain, and they're starting production now, or at least they're supposed to be starting their production now.
Oh, what was I thinking of?
But...
Well, I thought it was already, not released, but maybe
Nope.
already ready to go.
because they've delayed it for so long. They're just now getting started.
Huh, that inspires confidence.
Yeah. Every time I hear more about it, it makes me more worried
As long
about
as
it.
J.J. Abrams isn't touching it, I'll be
J.J.
good.
Abrams is not touching it. And it does have an interesting take on usually the Star Trek. All the Star Trek TV shows dealt, and even the movies, dealt with the captain and his command staff. And this one is supposed to be more on... You would see more of the second in command, but mostly all of the work and file lieutenants and
The working
and
grunts.
the working guys more of. So it'd be interesting to see how you're going to tell a story with just the working guys, and you don't know all the rest of the stuff going on.
Have a series with just the red shirts.
There you go.
Oh.
As they're all
Every
fear for
episode's
their
5
lives.
minutes long?
Yeah.
So what it sounds like you're describing, and this might just be because I've been rewatching this lately, but is it going to be The Office but with Star Trek?
Yeah. That's a very good one. I don't know if you're very familiar with but Star Trek Next Generation did one where it talked about with just these guys that were trying to go for promotion to get their lieutenant badges, and there was an entire episode of them trying to figure out what's going on and their experience with all that stuff, which I thought made a great single episode, but I don't know if that can drive an entire series. Because the captain is not supposed to be the major focus of the story. It's supposed to be these other guys. Anyways, that's supposed to have started filming now. When it's supposed to, they haven't even set a date that they're going to release it yet, because it's supposed to help release their paper, whatever they call it.
Their specific
Their specific Netflix type.
Yeah.
CBS.
CBS is supposed to, or whatever they call it, All Access, is supposed to highlight their All Access stuff so that people will go in and pay for it.
I think that was the moment that I decided I didn't care enough about the show.
Yeah, it's really been frustrating on how, and it's been really delayed and other stuff. Unfortunately, as big a Star Trek fan as I am, it's been really just disappointing on how CBS and Paramount has been just dropping the ball here.
If I recall right, didn't they... did that lawsuit over the fan project ever get settled?
Yeah, it did get settled, and not... Well, I guess it depends on how you look at things. If you're corporate, it's settled in a very good thing for them. But yeah, that you can no longer... They set up a whole bunch of rules on fan-made projects now.
That's gross.
Yeah, it's terrible. I don't know why Paramount had decided that they needed to go after this.
Were they seeking money for it? Because if they were looking for a crowdfunding campaign, that would be...
Yeah, you would think that this would have been a great way of promoting their own shows.
Well, no, I mean, if the fan project had been going for crowdfunding, that would be highly illegal.
I don't know, but they may have, but I don't know all the details on it. But I don't think they were... I mean, they were making money, but it was just enough, literally, to put out a new episode.
Actually, I should rephrase that. If they were just looking for donations to fund it, that would be okay. If they were looking to make any kind of a profit on it, that's where it would go.
I don't think they were making... like I said, I don't know the entire specifics, and maybe someone can tell me later on what all the specifics of it were. But as far as I know, they were making just enough to literally put out the next episode.
Okay.
But CBS they were using their property, their likeness. Right. They were doing all of that using their characters, their everything. and they took offense to that and took them to court, where they made it so now if you want, you can. It's you can do your Star Trek fan fiction, but it's a lot harder now because you have a certain time limit that you can't go over.
Right.
And there are a lot of constraints now on how to do it that it's almost not worth doing your fan service to Star Trek anymore.
Go make Star Wars
really
instead, I guess.
Yeah, it's really sad on how that all happened. And a lot of people are very, very upset with it, and so that may damage again because it's amazing to me what, corporate standpoint, I can sort of see what they were doing, why they'd be upset, but at the same time, it seems like this is an opportunity that they could have used to help promote their own projects.
Maybe sow some goodwill with the...
Yeah.
Like maybe include a teaser for Star Trek Discovery in the next episode of Star Trek Fan Project.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe even just have some of their characters pop up every once in a while or whatever.
That would be kind of cool.
It was just a missed opportunity, and of course, corporate never sees stuff like that. They only see we're using my stuff, stop, and mainly because they're all ruled by lawyers. But.
Yep.
So, Star Trek, what a mess.
Yeah, what a mess. It's
Beyond was good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
Beyond was
Not
really
to
good.
get off topic though, but as far as TV shows go, have any of you watched any of the episodes of Legion yet?
No.
I have.
How's it?
Legion is that one is really.
I still haven't seen Luke Cage.
It's
What?
Neither have I, actually.
I just no. I just
Hey, you
have
know
not
what?
had
In
the
2
time.
days, Iron Fist will be out.
That has been getting very poor reviews,
Yeah,
actually.
What has?
Iron
Fist?
Because
Yeah.
it's different,
Well,
of course.
I don't
It'd be
think that's the
interesting to
only
see when
reason.
people
Like,
actually watch it, or just the rank and file watch
Well, I
it.
still need to get through the second season
Well,
Daredevil?
of Daredevil. Yeah, I still haven't gotten all the way through. I think maybe
You still hadn't last
7
time I
or
was
8.
on.
There are other things that I'm watching.
check out the first episode of Legion to see how it kind of how you like it. It's very trippy and different.
Because that's Xavier's son, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
in this universe,
it's
you
not-
don't know.
Yeah, you don't know whose son he is.
Okay, he has Xavier's powers? I heard
no,
there was
well,
some
no, he
connection
is.
to...
He is. So Legion is so powerful that he has almost like every power.
Oh, okay.
But the trouble is, he's bat crap crazy.
Okay, that's
and
a good mix.
And you don't know which power
you
is
don't
going
know
to
which-
manifest
It's going
itself.
to manifest itself because it manifests sometimes with a different personality.
Okay.
That he goes in, and so he's questioning reality. What? And then of course there's people that are trying to help him fix him, but he doesn't know if they're real or not.
Because this is in like high school years or something?
No,
he's older.
probably like late 20s, maybe
Yeah,
early 30s.
he's a little
I have
older
not
than
been
like in the comic book. He was more a high school age.
Okay. I was about to say that would make a perfect analogy for puberty of all things, like the awkwardness of going through high school years.
Yeah.
No, it's already.
Yeah,
Every
the
day you
comic
wake up
book
with a
was
new power.
fantastic about
Okay.
that, where he was in an insane asylum in his high school years. That literally, he was a multiple personality disorder, huge time, and each time he manifested a different personality, had a different superpower. And
That's cool.
the insanity that went on with that, and how do you fix someone like that could set you on fire one day, or just read your mind the next?
Yeah, those ideas from the comics, they for the TV show, they certainly put their own ideas into how to implement that in a way someone from the outside could understand that. Because it's even with the episode that's been out, how they play out. They don't really explain anything. You have to draw your own conclusions until the next episode, where they give little tiny hints about what's really going on. And it keeps doing that for every single episode. It's very riveting that way.
And you start questioning,
You start questioning your own sanity.
your own sanity, and questioning what, he has different ideas of what he thinks is real, but are they really real, or just objects of his or his warped brain?
Because with what y'all told me, I'm having flashbacks to the Sentry, where it's just you have the most powerful thing that exists in your world, but they're also not the most stable
Yeah.
emotionally. So That's kind of neat.
I think it started off really, really well.
Yeah.
And they've already announced that they're going to have a second season for it.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I'm hoping that it will keep up. It's like, oh my God, maybe Fox does know how to make an X-Men stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So this is on Fox. This is not Netflix.
I thought it was on
if he's
HBO.
a mutant,
it is on
this
FX.
FX, which is a Fox
yes,
property.
right. So I was gonna say, if he's a mutant, then legally he
He's
belongs
on
to
Fox.
Fox.
They have called him a mutant,
Then yes,
but there are no
Okay.
X-Men.
Right.
There's no. Well,
Isn't the logo like the O has the X through it?
Yeah,
Yes.
but I mean, it's they look at it, but they don't mention anything about it
Right.
whatsoever.
You said they use the word mutant.
They
Yes.
do.
Okay, so legally in Marvel Studios is not allowed to use the word mutant in anything connected to the MCU. So that's all Fox.
Yeah.
It's all
So
Fox. Just
Deadpool's
put
going
it-
to show up.
Could.
I mean,
It could. And right now, Fox is wanting to put out an X-Men TV show. So
didn't they
announced the cast, I
yeah.
believe, here
Yep.
recently.
Yeah.
they are much better suited to a show than movies, as the past 2 decades have taught us. And I guess there was the 90s
maybe
cartoon,
true.
wasn't there?
Yeah.
I have been keeping up with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
There you go.
That's where-
I
that's
like
where-
it.
You have me beat there because as soon as the Ghost Rider arc ended, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a break.
How is
So I'm
Agents
like
of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
at 8
It's okay.
episodes like behind.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm watching. I like it well enough, and I'm watching it now just because I think of the momentum.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's good.
So
Well, I'll need to binge watch it one of these weekends when I have time.
I was told season 3 is where it starts to take a dip.
Is that the one with the Inhumans?
I've not watched the show.
I think season 2 is mostly like
Is that-
establishing Inhumans.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know they had like one where they were talking about Inhumans, and then they went full blast into the Inhumans.
Yeah.
Where you find out, Quake is, where she's come from and why does she have superpowers.
but that's season 3 because right now we're in season 4, right?
Until it gets
can't
season
remember what
3 gets
season
on
we're on right
Netflix,
now,
I have
yeah.
no idea where the beginning and end is. So.
Yeah, I kind of lost track.
Well, I'm kind of sorry that we're. Well, because we've been going for quite a while now, but one of the things that we're talking about as we're about to end is the fact that there are all these series, and so I'm going to go home feeling depressed. It's like, okay, I'm so behind in my watching now.
You got to catch up on your manga. You got to catch up on your comics.
But now you
your
can just
TV
start
shows
with,
and your movies.
Iron Fist and see what
Or
that's
not.
like.
Or you could
not,
catch up on Daredevil season 2.
Or you could just
Yeah, I still need to
or
finish
Luke
that.
Cage. Oh
Just-
my god!
just- sleep all weekend, you'll be
yeah,
fine.
pretty much. Only the bits of with the Punisher in them of season 2 of Daredevil do you need to watch.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, I've
I
seen
would-
those already.
Okay, well,
Yeah, it's okay.
You're
Watch
good then.
Luke Cage. That one is amazing.
John Bernthal is scary.
Just wow. From
actually
music
haven't watched it.
to Luke Cage is wow. From everything on Luke Cage and what it talks about to the music that it uses to everything about it. Luke Cage is one of their probably. I always say this. Like the next Netflix Marvel one is my favorite one, but Luke Cage has really knocked the ball out of the park, and that may be why no one's liking Iron Fist because Luke Cage is trying to precede one of probably the best ones.
Well, I feel ashamed now that I haven't
It
seen
didn't
it.
happen with Jessica.
True.
No,
true.
I still feel stronger about Jessica Jones than Luke Cage.
And then that didn't happen with Luke Cage with Jessica. Did it?
yeah,
I don't know because I had more people, at least in my work, and that just may be where I work.
Oh, maybe.
They talk more about Luke Cage than they did about Jessica Jones. Of course, they also talked about Daredevil, but Daredevil was its own thing. But as one that just started, there was a lot of people that I was talking to that jumped on the Luke Cage bandwagon more than they did on the Jessica Jones. And I don't know why that would be, but that's just what it was.
I'm wondering if we're about to see the first true, genuine failure from Marvel Studios because Agent Carter was just a miniseries. It was just meant to be that short one season thing, right?
Thought it was supposed to be
No,
ongoing.
it was supposed to be an ongoing deal.
Never mind.
It got canceled.
But it just couldn't find the audience.
We're
that it
looking
wanted.
at possibly the second big failure, unless
Yeah.
you count Iron Man 2 and Avengers 2.
I
Well,
don't know
TV
if you-
series, not
yeah.
movies, but
That's.
yeah.
I just mean from the MCU. Like,
Yeah.
Sure.
Tristan, you're bringing in downers again.
It's like, but who knows? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see on whether Iron Fist is as bad as some people have said, or maybe it's better than.
I'll still give it a shot.
Yeah, me too.
I will
3-episode dive.
Yeah. And who knows? Like I said, it could be just as bad as they say, or it could be maybe better.
And if it does wind up being bad, they could always just give him the one season and then say, and then he died, and then the Punisher showed up, and he was the defender.
There you go. That could happen.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, this could be it. This could be the one that doesn't work out the way the others did.
Well, in the on-location episodes to come, you can give us your take on having seen it, and if you think that it's going to live past the first season, or if it deserves to live past the first season.
Right.
But we've covered quite a wide array of topics of current comics that we're reading, manga, TV shows, some film. Definitely big thumbs up on Logan. So, again, something that I really need to see that I don't have the time for.
Lots and lots of media to consume.
Exactly.
So
but I want to thank you guys, Tristan, Matt, Craig, for coming and being a part of the March on Location episode. And if you want to find out what the fun is all about, then if you're in the area, head on over to Valhalla Games and Comics. They're located at 3100 Independence Parkway in Plano, Texas. The guys who work here are friendly, they know their stuff, and they'll treat you well. So come in and say, hey, I heard about you on the Comics Alternative. And if you want to get in touch with us and let us know what you think about our on-location episodes, is easy enough to do. If you go to our website, comicsalternative.com, you'll find that you can leave us a voice message online via SpeakPipe. Or you can call us the old-fashioned way by picking up the phone and dialing 4153-COMICS. That's 415-326-6427. You can also email us, as many people do. We're 2guys@comicsalternative.com, or you can email me directly. I'm Derek at comicsalternative.com. And you can find us all over social media, such as Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, Instagram, Google+, Goodreads, Pinterest, and YouTube. You can subscribe to the podcast through iTunes. You can stream us on Stitcher. You can find us on TuneIn, on Spotify, on iHeartRadio, and on Google Play Music. But you can find every single one of our podcast episodes, as well as the reviews and comics-related commentary that we post on our blog, simply by going to our website, which is comicsalternative.com. So there are a lot of ways for people to get in touch with us, and we do like to hear what you have to say about our online or our on-location shows. Because, again, this is about the only opportunity that we really take a deep dive into the mainstream superhero universes. So do you guys like that? You want more of it? Let us know. Get in touch. Until next month, guys, take care. We'll be back in April, and we'll have to figure out what topic we may want to discuss in April. So be running that over in your head.
All right.
Nice.
Okay? Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks for having us.
A lot of fun.